Yo, 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 I think we are streaming. Hello, hello. We had some technical difficulties. I'm pretty sure my capture card just straight up died. So that's not fun. Okay, we are live. Sweet. And we have pinned chat now. Nice. YouTube is slowly improving their streaming stuff. Let me make sure. Let me know how the audio is. I'm probably going to be either this far away or this close to the microphone. So hopefully it's okay. I feel like it's always low compared to other videos. So I'm going to try to turn it up a little bit. But if it's like way too loud, just let me know. Should be good. I think you can see when I talk, like you see my microphone light up. It's kind of neat. But at least that's kind of how loud I can tell I am. And hopefully I'm not peaking. Thanks for letting me join the Discord. A lot of cool people and good tips. Yeah, hey, hope you enjoy. Origami Darren, it's I like to describe it to people as a wild place, but a great place to just interact with the origami community. Let's see. Let's get my chair out of the way. I'm standing right now, but we'll get started pretty soon. Let's move that out of the way. Let's move this a little bit. So yesterday, I was on Twitch streaming, and I was just streaming the grid. I didn't want to do that in this stream. But one thing I did, which some of you might have seen, is I I started a live on Instagram with a pinned comment to go to YouTube. So you know, that might work. Let's see if we can try that again today. And we'll get some more friends in. He finished the Samurai version 3. Awesome. Thanks for folding. Yo, that's exciting. Whenever people finish folding my models, I get excited. That's super cool. Thank you so much. And it looks like audio is sounding good. Sweet. All right, let's get on over to my channel. The one thing is that's nice about Twitch is putting links in comments for like Insta Live is way easier. Because it's just twitch.tv/origami by voice. But for YouTube, like all the links are really weird. And even if I want to do like, I think it's like youtube.com/c/@origami by boys or something like that. It's, I don't know, it's a lot harder to remember. We're gonna try this again. Who is folding something right now, and what? Hey, that's a great question. So for the people in chat, yeah, what are you guys working on? And I kind of want to be able to read Instagram a little bit more, so I can see what people say. So I'm wondering like what I should do, or how I should hold this, so that it's not interrupting the YouTube stream, but I can still read the chat. All right, let's see. Hello, Instagram. We are live on YouTube right now. So if you got questions, feel free. That link might not help you. I don't know if you can copy it. But just go on to my YouTube channel and you can chat there. You can see my OBS going on. I wish I was able to see the Instagram live better, but you guys are off to the side over here, but you get a little glimpse. But come on over to YouTube and we can hang out. Alrighty. Hey, Mark. Stream day 2. When's the last time I streamed 2 days in a row? It's crazy. What's up, Simon? Looks like Ace Pilot is folding Jason Merrill's F-16. Very nice. And I'm going to move my keyboard out of the way. I don't want it next to my water bottle in case it spills. All right, hopefully that's going to be okay. And we're just going to kind of warm up, I should say, as people come in. So let's make it look a little more interesting on screen. Hello, hello. And yeah, I see a lot of more people on Instagram coming in. We are live on YouTube right now. So if you want to ask some questions and see what I'm folding, head on over to YouTube and we can hang out. Interesting. I'm gonna have to check out like what Instagram Live has added over time, because I feel like they've added some stuff. But yeah. By the way, I underestimate you. Your skill is almost legendary. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. I don't think I am legendary yet, but thank you. That means a lot to me. I certainly practice a lot. I'll give myself that. Is this your design? Yes, this is my design. Be careful. I can reverse engineer it just by looking. That's okay, Mark. If you don't need to reverse engineer this by looking. But even if you did, you are authorized to. Other people aren't, but you are. So people who are wondering, this one, right? Like what's going on? What's happening right here? We got 2 sheets of paper. So, a lot of people have been asking me, well, people have been asking me stuff for a while on like everything. First, it was, Boyce, can you make a tutorial for the 2-headed dragon? And so that's happening. And now the question has turned into, Boyce, when's the 2-headed dragon tutorial coming out? I made a post, I think like 3-4 days ago, that I finished filming, and I don't like that this camera is not in focus. Okay, there you go. I finished filming it. I'm like midway through editing. It's a long tutorial, so there's a lot to edit, even though it's basically just aligning the clips. But yeah, so obviously I'm streaming right now. Normally I don't stream when I'm working on videos, but I wanted to stream, and I think I have time to do both. Stream, which is to work on the 3-headed dragon, and then after stream I have some practice to do for a different thing. And then after that, so that'll be like midnight to 2 a.m. for me. And then from 2 a.m. to like 5 a.m., I think I can finish editing the video. So, you know, we got a little packed schedule, but that's okay. You know, you got to work hard. You know, we already worked an 8-hour day, but put in 6 more hours of work for Origami. Totally fine. And this is fun. This is fun work. Maybe not the video editing, but at least folding is. So this is like my break in between. And I get to hang out with y'all. So that's even more fun. But that's kind of what's going on. So the tutorial for this is coming out soon. And then that's what this is. So basically the tutorial gets you up to here. And then shaping is going to be a separate video, because I don't want to wait that long for people to start. And I think for the people who want to fold this, right, they can get up to here. It's going to take them some time anyways. And even once you're here, like, this is a good stopping point, and you can wait like a week and rest after the ridiculousness of following that tutorial. But yeah, I mean, this is, you know, a big chunk of it, and then we're going to be shaping the rest of the time to turn it into this. One thing that's interesting, though, is I thought the legs would be better proportion, being slightly shorter. And I think it's true, although it's grown on, like, I originally didn't like the front legs on this one. It's starting to grow on me. But I think in the end, these legs are going to be better. I showed this yesterday on Twitch. This is a leak, basically. Now, this hasn't really been publicly posted besides on the live stream, but the legs for the tutorial one are going to be like this. At least the front legs. The back legs are going to be the same. Actually, the back legs might be, they can be like this too. So this one I feel like is better shaped in terms of what legs actually are, versus this one, they're kind of just like rounded flaps. So I do like the look of this better. Although it, like you can see in the photo, it does still look kind of cool with these like super chunky legs. It's just kind of different. But in the tutorial, I think these are better. So we're doing these legs. But yeah, but you can kind of see like what I've been working on. We've got two-headed dragon, refold, redesign, two-headed dragon tutorial. That's another one. One-headed dragon, and then three-headed dragon. Another thing that's going on is, you know, what am I going to be doing with two-headed dragons? I think one of these I'm going to try to give away to a traveling gallery. If you are familiar with a collector named Sachin Shah, I might be able to get to see him in New York. And if so, he's going to have a nice surprise, and hopefully this can tour around. If not, hopefully I can reach out to some other gallery, Origami gallery, like in Uruguay or something. I don't know. If not, I'm going to hang on to it. Maybe sell it. Who knows? But pretty cool. Yeah, but at the convention, we're going to have a one-headed dragon, a two-headed dragon, and a three-headed dragon. In addition, once you know how to do the two-headed dragon tutorial, it's going to be pretty easy to do the one-headed dragon and the three-headed dragon from crease pattern. Now, I think what I might do is, because it took so much effort, even so far, to make the two-headed dragon tutorial, the crease patterns for the one-headed dragon and three-headed dragon might be a like YouTube membership premium, at least for now. Now, the members of my YouTube channel, we have like a private Discord that you get to join once you become a YouTube member. They've already seen the crease patterns. They've seen maybe 20 of the various varieties of crease patterns as I kept tweaking and redesigning it and realizing mistakes and fixing mistakes. So, you know, I think overall, even if you're not as interested in just these crease patterns, like you get to see a lot of behind the scenes kind of work. And I think because of how much effort this took, we'll keep that premium for them. And if you'd like to join the membership so that you can fold a three-headed or one-headed dragon after you do the two-headed one from the tutorial, maybe that might interest you a little bit. But who knows? That's just kind of my idea. You know, if enough people get mad at me, actually, no, I think if people get mad at me, that means it's valuable. So yeah, I think I'll just keep it like that for now. I think it should be fine. I've released enough like free stuff for people. But yeah, release a shaping tutorial. Well, the thing about that makes this two-headed dragon tutorial special. Normally I don't show like every single part of wet shaping, but what I'm going to try to do with the two-headed dragon is show every part of like doing that wet folding process. And since we're using MC and a blow dryer, and I've kind of set that as a precedent in the tutorial, it's going to be easier to actually teach. You know, I think shaping with glue, people have different glues, people have different methods, different brushes, but wet folding with MC, it's like a little bit easier to just tell people this is what we're doing and then show them how to do it. You know, if people are shaping with white glue versus PVA versus super glue, you know, it's all drying different and you can use it in different applications. And I just don't like teaching it like that because there's no point. Like what I'm doing is so specialized to me that it's not going to help anyone if they try to replicate it, because they probably can't replicate it. But with this process, it's still going to be a little bit like that, but I think they'll be able to replicate it more. Just because MC is a little bit nicer like that, since it's closer to wet folding than, you know, more dexterous, delicate, kind of diligent glue work. It's maybe it's more forgiving. I have no idea. It's who knows, but that'll be good. No, I need tips on how to shape origami. The greatest tip is just try and practice and then study. So it's like you do it, you self-reflect, and then you observe others. So I think I can't really make a shaping class because, again, that's kind of hard to do. It's so specialized to people, and it's a development of skill, not something you can like just watch and learn. You have to do it and build on it. But one thing that really helps is your power of observation. So not just with your hands, but with your eyes. So being able to understand, like you see a model you think is shaped well. Why is it shaped well? Why does your brain think it's shaped well? You got to be able to understand how, try to pick out on your own. Oh, what did this person do? Why does it look better than mine? How can I make mine look more like that? How can I make mine look better than my old folds? Stuff like that. And that's kind of how you learn to shape. And let's check quickly over to Instagram real quick, grab some more people over, and then we are going to fold. And we're doing a little bit of pre-creasing in the head just because I think it's interesting to watch me struggle through all these partials. And it'll give some people an idea of like how ridiculous this dragon head is. Maybe they'll appreciate the tutorial even if they're not folding it. All right, and so last call for Instagram. I think I'm gonna leave this open until it automatically turns itself off. But head on over to YouTube if you have any other questions, and the angle is much better on YouTube. So feel free to jump over to there. I have the link pinned in the comments. Or if you're following me on Instagram, I'm pretty sure you're following me on YouTube. So just head on over there and have some fun. All right, I've already started talking like way too much. We gotta start folding. I've noticed a lot of designers using a program that generates a picture of the collapsed crease pattern. Curious as to how much faster this makes the design process. It makes it faster if you already know how to design, and I would say like know all the rules of design and flat foldability. So, you don't have to jump there now, but I recommend you go back to the stream where I designed this, and you can see me using that program to just create the crease pattern. And I don't think I ever show collapsing I don't think we even ever got to that point, because you'll see me doing the basic structure, which is essentially what you see on this crease pattern, like all these lines drawn out. And we, like designers generally can just think of that, and that's what we use to design. But to actually get it to collapse into that shaped model, you need to like assign the correct fold for every single part and all the hinges that go through everything. So basically, if I were to collapse that crease pattern from that stream, it would look like something like this. But since it's purely two-dimensional, it's basically just a stick. But like every single little hinge between all the teeth, between all the assignment here, you have to do. And as an experienced designer, you know how to you can just draw the line and like auto change all the mountain valleys like really quickly. But if you're new to design, you're probably not going to know how to do that. And if you want to try, I think it's good to try, because that's how you can learn how to do that. But it's going to take you way longer than just knowing the principle of like flaps, flap length, river, stuff like that. So up and down. For some of my humanoid models with color change, it helps because I can really test like that one. All the assignment is more important, but it's kind of less intensive. In that you can check like, oh, did this color change where I wanted it to be? But it doesn't always like tell you everything, it's still a flattened model. So it might have color changed, but the flap is locked. So you can't actually shape the arm, you just never know. Well, it's not that you never know. It's you probably already know if you're able to do that, basically. Hope that helps a little bit. All right, so let's get started. You can see actually the three-headed dragon. It's this thing right here is already weird. We've got a river meander going through the leg. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Let's ignore that for now. That's kind of cursed. So I'm glad I'm not making a tutorial for this. I think out of all 3 crease patterns, the 2-headed dragon is like the most balanced. Obviously the easiest one to fold is the 1-headed dragon, but the 2-headed one is, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's balanced. The paper widths are nice. Technically, like the 1-headed one is more efficient, or the tail's on the edge versus the tail in the middle for the 2-headed. Or sorry, this is 3-headed. 2-headed. But like the flap arrangement, it's kind of nicer on the 2-headed one. Even with the tail in the middle. Okay. Sorry, I'm ranting like a lot today. This is where our heads are. We got 3. I don't know if you can tell, but this is where the 3 heads are going to be. And this cord is really annoying. Can I get it out of the way? Okay, it's going to be probably annoying us for the whole stream, but that's okay. It's going to be 1 head here, 1 head here, 1 head here. And this is a 48 grid. And we got to, we have to divide part of it into 96ths. And then the teeth are partial 190 seconds. That's already sounds fun, right? Thankfully, with part of this, we can just do all 3 at the same time. And let me actually bring this closer so I don't go off screen. Like that. Because since they get small, like normally when I'm looking down, it's like a big distance, but I can still kind of tell where the lines are. But when it gets small, I have to do like you see the top of my head. We're going to try not to have that happen too much. Because it's kind of awkward. Practice. Yes. Practice is the best answer. Yeah, if I were to summarize like everything I ranted about in one word, it's basically just practice. Don't get stopped by your skill issue. Exactly. Like, it's important to recognize you have skill issue, but don't let that like drop your motivation and stop you. You know, you got to push past your own skill issues. But you can only do that if you know what they are. So identify them, conquer them by practicing. Okay, with this stream, let's see. We have like 3 hours. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to finish the heads by then. We might be able to do 1 or 2. Hopefully. Oh, hey. Good to see you. 4-headed dragon when? Ooh. That's a good question. I don't think it'll fit into 48 grid. But yeah, if I'm doing 1, 2, and 3, you know, where's 4? Excellent question. It's good to have you here. If you haven't seen, I shared on my community post, a video that Kay made. I recommend you guys to check that video out. It's pretty cool. Shows some progress or process of making one of Kay's designs. A very recent design. It's a catching from Genshin Impact. It's a great video. I don't want to spoil it. You should just watch it. You can watch it and then come back. Even, it's great. And then 8 heads. I think at that point, you know, 4 heads would be okay. I think once you get past 4 heads, the rest of the body, there'll be a lot of wasted space. Unless you do something strange, like add a dragon rider or scales, but that sounds gross. Because yeah, at least with this current structure, like the paper usage is pretty balanced. Nothing's like too ridiculous. And if you can tell, like this whole top region is for the head. And it just works out really nicely. So and 4 would be okay. You would need probably 56 grid maybe could do it with the same proportions as this one. No, you would need a little, wait, because okay, we technically don't need this edge if you have 4. So I think you could do it with a 56 grid without it being like extra cursed. But yeah, after that, the grid's going to change a lot. So the nice thing with the 2-headed and 3-headed dragon, the 3-headed one is the same grid as the 2-headed. And then the 1-headed is 8 grid units less. So it's a 40 grid compared to a 48 grid. Pretty neat. Orochimaru when. That's funny. Thanks. I was asking because I want to perfect my Darkness Dragon. Oh, yeah. Especially like Darkness Dragon's great because I feel like you can tell the level shaping between like a less shaped Darkness Dragon and a well shaped Darkness Dragon. It's good stuff. Can't we use more than 48 for 8-headed? Not recommended. Well, again, the thing is, it would fit the 8 heads, but then the rest of the body, like if you had the same proportions, the same structures, there'd be so much wasted grid space. And you could fill it with flaps, but they kind of be pointless flaps. Like, you get to the case where like you have these spikes that are the same length as the wings or the arms or the head, and it just kind of looks like a spike ball. It'll be really messy. You know, unless you can think of like an actual structure that makes sense that can maybe cover something else. Like this dragon already has back spines, you know. And then if you did something like with scales, then the rest of the flaps is just like extra thick throughout the rest of the model for like no apparent reason. So you just start skewing like a ton of, I don't know, it gets messy as you add like the ridiculous amount of heads. And the reason for that is because of how complex and how much paper the normal head takes. That problem probably, I mean, if someone wants to like take the 2-headed design and make it 8 heads, but make it efficient and good and actually fold it, you know, you can try for sure. But I feel like with this specific head, if you wanted to do an 8-headed dragon, you just shouldn't use this head. You should try a different structure. It's probably better than this one. You'll get a better dragon in the end. These are corners and edges for the head and the body in the middle. Well, yeah, again, yeah, but then, okay. The thing about that is then the wings are going to be middle flaps if they're not on the edge. And wings that's middle flaps is going to cause you even more problems because of the way it's shaped. And you'll need even more paper usage, which means you'll probably expand the grid, but the grid doesn't need to expand for how long the tail and the legs are, and you run into the same problem. You could probably just use BP Studio and pack something really crazy like that and get the most efficient route, but yeah, maybe you can try that. But intuitively, like on my own with this similar structure, like not changing it too much, it's kind of wonky. Because if you think about it, even if you have all 8 heads on the edge, there's no river between the end of the neck and the front legs with the wing. But then you need the 2-unit river for the body and back legs. So to do it symmetrically, it just would be super cursed. And then to do it asymmetrically, you're going to have a... I don't even know why you would try. It's kind of weird. I can't think of it in my head how... Like, if the entire edge was complete with heads, I don't think it'd work out. And again, it's mostly because of how the head is structured. Like, the teeth are... the teeth aren't quite dependent on the... I know they're pretty dependent on the edge. They make a lot more sense the way they are. Looks like a blueprint. Am I doing it from memory? This part I probably could because I've done it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done it 5 times in the past month and have taught it in the tutorial. So, but no, I do have like the crease pattern on my other screen here. It's tabbed out, so if you're on Instagram, you probably can't see it either. Like, Boyce is lying. He's actually has it memorized. No, I don't have it quite memorized. This part is just dividing the creases, and I already know where the head block is. Honestly, I probably could do it from memory, because I know generally how long the horns are, how long the mouth is, the structure of the mouth, and the folding sequence. The one thing I'd probably mess up is like where the how far that, you know, actually maybe we should try that. Let's try one of the heads from memory and just see how far I get. But for now we just got to pre-crease like all the grids. Not the grids, just the division, the head divisions. So it's going to be a little bit. This is a great time to ask questions for me because we're just going to be grinding this out a little bit. And it's like kind of unfortunate because I do have to do this on, at least I don't have to pre-crease the heads. I just had to do the grids on the heads before I start collapsing one, because it just makes it really annoying if I have one head that's collapsed and then have to do grid divisions on the others. But what I'll do, so I'm not gridding and pre-creasing the entire time, is after I do these divisions, I will just pre-crease one head from memory and collapse it. And then I'll do the pre-crease. I'll basically do the pre-creasing and collapse per head instead of doing it split up the other direction. So we're doing depth first instead of breadth first kind of approach. And that way I can see if I can I actually have it from memory. Shangnara, yeah, I'll do some more. Oh, yes. Shangnara is the person for Naruto characters. That'll be cool. Orochimaru. And I am going to close down the Instagram live so I can just pay attention to everyone on YouTube. And also so my phone doesn't run out of battery. Okay. I remember one episode of Origami Champion when everyone was folding from crease pattern and Miyamoto Chuya casually folds his clown from memory. Oh man, that's crazy. That is actually crazy. That's a built different moment right there. That clown is no simple model. Okay, we just have one more horizontal one like this. All right, and then we have these, but the nice thing is with these, I don't have, like you can see I'm folding through layers. It makes it way faster. Way faster. And since it's just 2 layers and it's already like pre-gridded, it won't make it an accordion grid for the heads, but it speeds the process up a lot. And basically half of the creases will be correct and half of them will be incorrect. And that's good enough for us. Now, one thing I'm not sure of, since I've been doing even both the 2-headed and the 1-headed dragon, where the heads are technically either isolated or on the edge. The 3-headed one, we have 1 in the middle and 2 on the edge. I don't know which is easier to collapse first. I'm probably just going to collapse an edge one first, just so it stays out of the way of everything else. Also, in theory, I could fold more of these in half than just one or two at a time. But I don't want to do that. You don't need to be too precise on these, but you need to be precise enough. And folding too many layers all at once just compounds your error. So let's not do that. But 2 at a time is enough if we're careful. K's pre-creasing counter is upset now. Uh-oh. We're almost there, Kay. No worries. But yeah, at least the real 48 grid is done already. How many origami friends do I have? I have a lot of origami friends. I even have more in person now. I used to be the only folder I knew. And then I had one friend. And then I went to college and had no friends again. And then I made a bunch of online friends. And then I met some of those online friends in person. And made even more online friends. So now I have lots of origami friends. I know that most origami folders, I feel like, are the only origami folder they know in person. And that is, I think all of us can relate, basically. Even, you know, obviously I have friends now, but I still relate to the time when I didn't. And yeah, it's good stuff. We can be thankful for the friends we have, you know what I mean? The nice thing is, because of online community, that kind of, it doesn't replace friends, obviously, but it helps, like, I guess it be less lonely at times, or you have some kind of interaction, which is very important for art to be able to share. So there's that. You know, it would be cool if origami was just like a normal, like as normal as video games. But we aren't there yet. And I think since origami is just like innately difficult, it probably won't be like that. It might expand more for people to travel around, but yeah. My current project is Crested Kingfisher. It's an awesome model. It is an awesome model, and you probably will need that luck. That's good stuff. How long have I been interested in origami? How did I start? What was I interested in? When I first started, I guess my first technically origami or active folding paper was paper airplanes. That's kind of how I was introduced to it. And then my dad, he had a business trip to China, and he brought back these really simple origami books. I actually still have it. You can check it out. Check this out. This book is probably 16 years old or something like that. Yeah, from Hong Kong, Kowloon. And, you know, it's a lot of like traditional stuff. But I tried to learn as many of these as I could. And I couldn't do a lot of them. But that's kind of how it started. And I obviously couldn't read any of this either. So that's how I learned diagrams. And that's why I don't need English to fold diagrams, is because I started without, like, as a kid who only spoke English, I can't read, Cantonese. Yeah, so that's what I started with. And over time, I just kept folding those. And then one day I discovered John Zinger, his dragon. There was a free PDF on his website. So I folded that. And then there's an exchange student we had from Japan in my class, and he folded an ancient dragon in 7th grade. So that's when I was maybe 11 or 12, and he was 11 or 12, and he brought an ancient dragon into school, and it blew my mind. And that's when I kind of figured out that origami could be even crazier than I thought it had been. And I wanted to learn how to do that. And like a couple years later, I kind of stopped again, but a couple of years later, I discovered Tadashi Mori's YouTube channel and just folded, I think, as much of that as I possibly could. And from that point, I was always interested in like dragons. So origami dragons, every single dragon I possibly could fold. It's basically what looped me in. And then later on, that developed into like human characters when I started to learn how to design, which was, years later, maybe like 4 or 5 years later, when I was beginning to learn how to design. That's what I wanted to do, was the samurai. And now I still see myself as learning. And, I can do it pretty well to some degree. Depends who you ask. And then, I think my interest is still the same. I'm literally folding a dragon right now. And then I also have a lot of humanoid designs, and those are mostly what I like to do. And that interest all came from like books I read, like Lord of the Rings, or movies I'd seen, video games, or anime. A lot of influences. I think making things that you're interested in is really helpful for, that inspiration, because I want to create things that I think are cool and fun. I don't need to create things that are good or things that I think people will like, or things that are pushing boundaries exactly. I want to fold stuff that I think is cool. And if other people think it's cool too, that's pretty lit. But as long as I think it's cool, then I want to do it. So that's kind of how it be. That's kind of how I treat origami now. All right, so we have the grids done. Now we still have some pre-creasing to do. Sorry, Kay. Still pre-creasing to do, but my goodness, this paper is annoying to fidget with. We're gonna pre-crease all the level shifters, and then we can pre-crease the rest of the teeth, which the rest of the head is really fast to pre-crease. There's not too much. The level shifters, it just helps to pre-crease them because there's too many. Let's do the edge ones first where you can see it. Okay, hold on. This paper is, you need to fold it like that. Okay. There we go. Now it fits on screen. What's my earliest design? I think I have it. So there's this, and then this, and one more. Oh, okay. The third is the fish, the logo, and I mean you can just see it under my face. That's I think that one is technically the first one, the fish. And then technically this one is. This was like, I don't know. I tried to make an anglerfish. It's not that great compared to my other anglerfish, which was years later. And then this is literally just like a grid with flaps on the edge. You know, the typical octopus base, except there's 12 legs on the squid. The fish was actually good. I still like that design. And I kind of modified it for the tutorial and the instructions, the diagrams. But that, like, compared to these, I think the fish is actually a decent design. That's like my earliest designs. And then after that, it was like the samurai. Because basically I stopped trying to design like that, learned how to read crease patterns, and then I could just design the samurai. Yeah, OBB fish. Steve, I have a 2-year-old daughter, so I thought I'd pick back up my old hobby of origami and fell back in love with it. Awesome. Now that I'm 40, I can do a lot more than I could as a kid. Nice. That's awesome. I'm so glad you picked up origami again. And when the nice thing is, yeah, it's one of those things like once you start understanding more and you realize, oh, I can fold more and more, it gets like extra exciting. Because you can see like, I don't know, there's something cool about being able to create stuff that you thought you wouldn't be able to before. It's kind of addicting. 'Cause you're like, wait, I'm creating something. Even if it's like someone else's design still, like transforming the 2D into 3D. It's like really cool. Let me see. I'm doing this right. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to get a row of these level shifters done. And then I'm going to answer some more questions. Just so I can make sure I don't pre-crease the entire stream. I think it'd be cool to see the collapse of the head. And that's it, I think, for that side. Okay, let's see. I can't believe the fish is... I know, right? I mean, it is a water bomb base, or half Blint's water bomb base. So just from having folded diagrams, like I kind of knew, you know, just start with the base and modify it. But yeah, it was really random. Like it, I can't believe it was my first. Like when I look back on it, it's not bad. And at the time, I had no idea that it was good. Right? I was like, does this even look like a fish? To me, it looks like a fish. There is that cursed sink through the nose, but that's how you know it's a beginner design. The fact that you just sink the nose in. Partha Deb, which paper would you recommend for projects like Darkness Dragon or Ancient Dragon? Double tissue works for both of those. That's probably the cheapest option. The cheapest to like reliable option for the size that you can probably get. Now, if you want like, if I were to choose a paper that I wanted to fold Ancient Dragon or Darkness Dragon with, I'd probably choose Wenjo or Mulberry. Some kind of handmade paper. That's not like, it doesn't have to be too thin. That or just double tissue. Like my Ancient Dragon was double tissue. My most recent one. And it worked great. So yeah, can't go wrong with double tissue for sure. Let's face this way. Trying to make sure I'm not messing these up. Because it's really annoying to go back to do these. Alright, we're on a roll here. Yeah, so like this part is also easy from memory because I'm just using the grid reference. And I know exactly where these need to be on the edge. Tried the Hercules Beetle by Robert Lang. But failed because the paper was folded too many times. Yeah, Robert Lang's models are pretty advanced. Even some that don't look that advanced have crazy steps in them. that just make them difficult to fold in sequence. So you might just need to start looking to get some better paper, which you can watch my paper guide video series to learn how to make your own double tissue and treat your own papers, to be able to do that. Because that is a good skill to learn, to be able to start folding some more of those intermediate and advanced origami models. Speaking of the paper guide videos, the part 3 is coming out soon. I don't know if they're here, but if they're watching, they know who they are. They can send me, an email link of the footage that you have recorded so that I can edit it into a video tomorrow. Or whenever I finish the two-headed dragon tutorial editing. But for the rest of y'all, that is a hint that part 3 is actually a collaboration video with some very talented folders who know a lot more about dyeing paper colors, like custom colors and stuff like that, and prepping paper with cool patterns. And they know that way better than I do. So they're going to be sharing their knowledge with all of you for free. That's pretty crazy. I am actually so excited for this video. It's a literal gold mine of information. So I hope you all will really appreciate the people who helped record that. And you'll see in the video, obviously I tell you to go like follow them and subscribe to them and stuff. But I really hope that a lot of you do. If you're not following them already, which there's a good chance you might be following them already. But yeah, it's seriously good stuff from some of the most cracked folders out there. And then after that video is going to be part 4, which is the last part for now, which is making oversized sheets of paper. So how do you make paper sheets larger than your cutting surface? And I don't have a perfect solution, but I have a solution. So, and it's worked for me for some crazy big projects. Even when I was a less experienced folder. So I think if you try it and give it a shot and practice it, it'll work for you as well. Even if you feel like you're limited in the supplies that you have, you can always make it work. Robert J. Lang models don't really have that many pre-creases like Darkness Dragon. Yeah, it's designed differently. A lot of Robert's designs are they're either designed with a sequence in mind or they're designed with a specific feature in mind, and Robert just makes a sequence for it because he's really good at deciding what can have sequence and what can't. For example, some things, for example, like I think he had, what was it? It was like a mouse he taught before. And it was a really funky, like 30-degree reference in the middle of a 22.5 unit, or I don't know. Something about it was really weird. It didn't look hard. It didn't look advanced at all. But man, it was trippy because it was like a super strange point split closing that formed the ears. And that's what, Robert finds fun. I think he's got these fun, like mathematical, occurrences in some of his designs, but that makes him kind of strange to fold and makes them more complex in a different way than a lot of other people's designs are, I think. Or if it's an older design, it's probably just the collapse sequences actually makes it harder than it would be from crease pattern. So like I know his tarantula, there's that unsync kind of steps. You're basically unsyncing a bird base. And it's so much easier just to collapse the bird base from crease pattern than to do the rabbit ear, unsync kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's deceptive sometimes, those diagrams. Okay, so we're starting to... Oh, I forgot to pre-crease the rest of it. I was just going to start collapse. You know, we probably could just collapse this whole thing. I still need to pre-crease a little bit more. My bad. It's okay. Let's see if I have this from memory. So, we're starting from the corner. That's the unit, and then this is 4, then 3, and it should be above that. Yep, okay, so 4 units, but actually the horn is only 3 units tall. So 3, we can double check that if we do 3 into the middle. Technically it'll be 4 into the middle, and if this is in the center, then we're correct, which it is. 4 should be into center 2. It is. Let's make sure that lines up with the other side. So we're going from the edge here. Here's our transition. And then it's up 4 grid units. And these are 96ths. And then we go 4 more. It connects. And we do the same thing on the other side, which is, this is off camera. Okay, I'm gonna knock this guy over. Let's move him out of the way. I'm gonna try not to knock over my audio mixer and the wires. And yeah, you can see how big this paper is, kind of, from how I'm struggling with it. But the result of the model is the size of the dragons I showed, actually. So that's how much it shrinks. Which is not too much, but it definitely is different or comparable to what it started from. Okay, so we have that. Yeah, his angle calculations and how he sets them up is really interesting. That's a lot of creases. Yeah, it kind of is. It's not too many creases. You are cool. Thank you. You are cool. Yeah, I have good advice on doing giant squares after the Sunbringer. I had to find a method to do it because my table wasn't big enough. Mark, if you'd like to share that with me before I make my video, I might take some of those tips and bring them in to mention as well, if you are down for that. But I think there are multiple ways to do it. I have a specific way I'm showing in that video, but we'll see how the flow of that video goes. Maybe I'll show multiple ways. Kind of depends. Or maybe I'll just have you film me part of that tutorial, if you don't mind. Okay, so here's where I have to remember. Okay, I know we go back this way. Now the question is, how much do we go back? So that's the horn. The horn is set back. I think it's like 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, and then mouth. Okay, I don't have this quite from memory, so instead of looking at the crease pattern, I'm going to see if I can figure it out just from looking at this. So if the horn, we go up 2, or is it 2 or is it 3? I think it's 2, and then 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's 2, 1, 4, 1, 1. So 2, 1, 4, 1, 1. And okay, I'm just gonna double check the crease pattern. I don't have it from memory, unfortunately. But we went a good amount. Oh yeah, and that's correct. It's 2, 1, 4, 1, 1. So 2, 1, 4, and 1, 1. And then it starts the mouth right here. Then we go down to 1, 2. And that's the end of the top jaw. And then we go back up 2. And it's 1, 2, 1, 1. 1, 2, 1, 1. And I'm surprisingly still in frame, but out of focus. I wonder if I should change this to manual focus, but... Okay, so that's one side. See, not too bad. And then other side, we just flip it. So it's 2, 1, 2, 4. Or sorry, 2, 1, 2, 1, 4. 2, 1, 4. 6 digits. Yeah, we're just talking numbers right now. So many numbers. Two, 1, 4. 2, 1, 2, 4. 1, 1. One. Or this is 2, because this is the head now. I messed something up. Ah. Went 5. It's good to catch yourself, even if you make a mistake, if you catch yourself earlier the better. But ultimately it's okay. Double check. Yep. Gotta mess up at least once, right? And here we are. We can start collapsing. Let's go. All right, so that's what the head looks like. That's all I got to pre-crease. See, it's not too much, right? And now for us, we just had to do this 2 more times, but we'll do it later. But the nice part is we can start collapsing. And essentially, you saw me earlier, I was recollapsing all the pleats, the big pleats over here. And that's just, it kind of lets the paper in front of it know how it's folded. I don't know, something about like the paper's memory makes it a little bit easier to collapse. Is we don't actually have to like have it folded. But I find it easier just to do it like that. And then we have all our transitions, and I like to do these all first. I think it just makes it a little bit less cursed to do them as you're folding parts of the model. It's almost like the same thing here, but just going through that side. You can almost do it sequentially. Not really, but almost. Right, and then this is like that. This is like this. And then we can start over here. And hopefully I can get this in frame. We can leave the rest of that collapsed, but we can start here. Collapsing these in. And right here, now we have some of that going. We can do the level shifters, yay! Which, I forgot, some of these pleats aren't folded the right direction, so we gotta be a little bit more careful. We're collapsing. How long have I been streaming so far? How long did it take me to start collapsing? Probably, whatever it is, it was too long. I wanted to finish this yesterday. I did not have the time, unfortunately. But that's okay. I don't think that was too bad. Hopefully, y'all were entertained enough by my rants. But sometimes that's what streaming is, right? You just chat. What was your main source of information about origami? When I got serious about it, probably YouTube, I think, and Tadashi Mori. And it wasn't until I attended my first origami convention that I was introduced into the concept of learning crease patterns. Basically, I thought I didn't have the resources to learn crease patterns. So I just, that's just something I wouldn't be able to do. But when I went to that convention, there's a guy named Tovi Wen. He was a lot younger than me, but he was already designing stuff and reading crease patterns, and he inspired me to learn, because he was like, "Oh, boys, you can do it. Like, you're folding this stuff, you can do it. You just just try it." And then that got me in the mood of, oh, you know what? You're right. I've learned other stuff in the past. What's stopping me from learning crease patterns is just myself. So we just got to try, and it's okay if we fail a couple times. So we just got to try. And I think that was like the most pivotal point of my journey in origami. To realizing further that, yeah, I could fold anything if I learn how to do it in practice. Regardless of what materials or resources or people I can talk to, I can do a lot of it. Just pure practice and finding those resources. I had to stop focusing on what I didn't have and start focusing on what I could find, It's like, if I didn't have that, well, why don't I just get it for myself? Do whatever it takes to learn that or find that, to be able to do it myself. But that's why I created those crease pattern classes, because I didn't want everyone else to have to go through that rigorous journey that I did. So I was like, you know what? I've been blessed to learn this. So I'm going to provide a resource to everyone else so they don't have to take as long or make all of the same mistakes that I did. There's still an essence of that in everyone's own journey, but I can make it a little bit more accessible by publishing some, even though it's kind of mediocre. Like, the crease pattern class is probably not the best way to learn crease patterns, but it's just the resource that's out there that is approachable. And that's what the goal was, because when I was making them, I was not the best crease pattern folder at the time. There's a lot I didn't know yet. In looking at back now, I'm like, I taught that incorrectly. Like the middle flap class, it's awful. I didn't explain that well at all, and the examples are really bad. But I think it works, or at least from what I've heard from people, is it's worked enough that a lot of people have learned to fold crease patterns, and if they didn't quite learn from my tutorial, it at least inspired them to go on and learn for themselves. Sorry, I ranted a little bit on that. That's kind of a little bit more of an answer than your question was, but that's where I got my inspiration and my motivation. What was the question? What was the source? Oh, source of information. That was a very extended answer on my source of information. So in summary, I talked to as many people as I could, and I created the means to do that, to get my information. If it wasn't there already, I sought out means to either do it myself or find it myself. Tadashi Mori is the GOAT. Facts. I think now, like, it's crazy. It blows my mind that I've been able to do videos with Tadashi Mori. Some collaboration and hang out and chat with him in person. Or not really in person, but over video call. Blows my mind. We were talking about it on Twitch yesterday. There was I was in the IB art class and I did origami as part of the submission. This was a long time ago, but part of the process was you had to write reports on different artists in your field, and so I wrote reports on people like Cade Chan and Robert. Not Rob. Did I do Robert? I might have been Robert. Joseph Wu as well. And at the time, when I was young, like, I didn't know who they, or I'd never reached out or talked to them, or I just knew of their work, and they obviously didn't know me. But now, today, that's completely different. Been able to chat with them in person or hang out and chat, like, on a consistent basis. And they're like friends, pretty much. So, in terms of, like, meeting other origami folders or getting information about that, like you can create your own journey and do it. Blow your own mind of your future self or something like that. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. Did I ever watch Jeremy Schaefer? I did. I didn't fold a lot of his models, but I watched a lot of his videos because I thought they were really cool. But I was definitely more into representational, and some of Jeremy's videos weren't always representational. There are other things, but like plenty of the other stuff I do, like I think I folded more Jeremy Schaefer stuff like now or in the past couple years than I did when I was younger. Like I folded his pencils and I used those on stream and tutorials a lot in classes, and I attended some of his online classes and really enjoyed folding all those cool like either fidget toys or, you know, poppers or just things that were really action origami. Like it's super cool. It's got an insanely smart brain to design stuff like that. Oh yeah, I hung out with Jeremy Schaefer too. So nowadays, I'm not sure if that part was in the. You might have seen it in the video that plant psychologist had when we were folding Power of Friendship. At night times when we were working on it, Jeremy Schaefer was just like hanging out with us, watching us fold, and we were asking him questions. And there's some other people there too. And it was just all of us just kind of hanging out and talking together. So yeah, that was a super cool experience. Is there a Discord channel for community? There is. Origami Dan. If you want to join, which Steve, you are 40 years old, so you passed the you passed the check. The age requirement to join a community is 13 years old. So yeah, you've passed that already. Send me a message on Instagram, and I will send you an invite link to that Discord. Hello, I am a novice in origami and would like to ask for advice. How do you deal with folding imperfection, folding up through folding progress? Skewness or creases? Yeah. From folding over and join with perfect creases. Okay. Okay, so folding, it's interesting. So folding accurately or folding imperfections, especially when going through layers, I think as you get better at origami, it's more okay to be imprecise. So this is Shukikata's Giganotosaurus I'm working on. And the folding is very inaccurate. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but some of these don't line up very well. But will it affect my resultant end? Will it make it a bad result? No, because I know how to manipulate the imperfections enough to get a good result. And I understand the underlying structures, so it doesn't affect my future creases because I can compensate where they go. Now, as a novice, I think it is important to develop the skill to be able to fold precisely and fold through layers, or just fold single layers and kind of be okay with it. But like, you don't have to worry too much. I think a lot of people, they get discouraged if they can't fold it perfectly, or if they start to see some things line up irregularly. But if you look at what I'm doing, a lot of this isn't accurate and a lot of it is building up through layers. But it's okay, because part of the skill is like you fold inaccurately enough to make the rest of the model look accurate or precise. It's kind of weird, but I think the best thing to be able to do, or one of the best things to practice, is like folding. It's kind of developing your hand skills. So if you can like you know, like just it can be simple, like being able to fold something in half really cleanly in the air like this. That's just like a physical skill you can learn. To step it up, if you can like eyeball like a third, and so see the paper is already starting to slip, but if you can know how to grab it correctly to make it not slip, and then like you practice stuff like this. And not everyone needs to do stuff like that. But you know, these are like fundamentals to train your fingers to be able to do things accurately. Or like maybe if you want to do a reverse fold, right? Instead of doing it like you need to pre-crease it, if you can start to understand like, oh, it's just a bisector, so I can line up the corners, and the corner is the only thing that's important, so I can line up the other corner, and as long as that is good to go, then I didn't have to pre-crease anything. So small things like that, which probably aren't going to be in origami instructions, and just like fun things you can practice simply. It's the same thing as like exercising for a sport. It's just these small little physical practice things you can do anywhere to develop like your dexterity in your fingers. And that helps to be able to like keep track of stuff like this, where I'm like talking to people and half looking, but still able to fold precisely, just using like my fingernail underneath the paper and stuff like that. I hope that helps a little bit, or kind of gives you an idea of some things that you can practice to start getting better. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a journey, so a lot of it is just practice. Saw another question. This paper seems really crispy and thin. Seems great for folding. Where can I get it? Yes, this is Wenjo rice paper. It is excellent paper. And I'm collapsing this wrong, I think. Hold up. I collapsed it a little bit too early. Let me get myself back on track, and then I will answer that question for you. But yeah, so this is Wenjo rice paper. I have a link for it on my website, or at least I did. I think it's sold out from the link that I have on my website. But yeah, I will try to find a source, if not try to source it myself via Amazon, if it's, you know, hard to find. But I think you can get it on like eBay as well. But it's substitute. So this one's kind of a fake Wenjo rice paper. It's truly like a mulberry, and it's a little bit thinner than the Legion paper mulberry I've advertised a lot on this channel. But any kind of handmade thin paper that's made out of mulberry and it's short fiber will pretty much fold the same as what I'm using. The thing is, I am making it look crispy, and it is a little bit. It's more beneficial for shaping than actual like folding, I think. But it does have good memory. But honestly, the paper memory makes it harder to reverse creases. Now, it might look like I am reversing creases really easily, and that's because I am, but it's due to the fact that I know where I'm actually folding. It's not the paper itself that's doing it for me. So it's not like regular origami paper that inverts creases, or like printer paper that can invert creases really easily. It's not like that at all. This is just my knowledge of the paper and having used it a lot. So I can kind of command it to fold where I want it to go. And that includes in the process of reversing creases. I think it's a very handy skill to pick up, and you'll be able to learn that as you just use papers more often. It's like getting the most out of the paper from experience. It's like you know how to get it to bend the right way. You know when it's about to tear. If you folding something that is risk of that, you know, stuff like that is just through experience. And also, I have very good awareness of where my creases actually are, and like that's the other thing that makes it look probably a lot easier than it actually is. Of at least what I'm doing. And I say that right as I'm starting to struggle on the paper and like messing up the crease. But it's a great paper. I think a lot of people can find success with it. But definitely the more advanced folder will be able to get more of the benefits out of this paper. And I would say the same thing for papers like Origami dough or Ogami and some of the like kingly papers that you might see or hear about. The benefit you get from using them is proportional to your experience and skill of folding. Like you'll be able to get more out of it. There's very few like magical papers that will, like, just by using it you'll be better or something like that. It doesn't quite work like that. And a lot of them are geared for shaping and stuff. Hopefully that kind of answered your question. I see a lot more. Flipping creases is hard. Yeah. See, so flipping creases is hard, but you can see I'm doing it quickly, and it's all because of how much I've practiced. So, you know, I used to, when I was really learning in high school and in early college, to practice my dexterity, because my fingers were not as confident as they are today, is I would do what I showed. I would practice folding papers into thirds. Basically, I was trying like a lot of stuff I thought was hard and making it less hard for myself until the point that it was easy. So, and you know, in your free time, if you like have to listen to a meeting at work or you can listen in school, obviously don't be distracted, but like, you know, harder things would be, you know, you have a diagonal angle. All right, you need to fold that into, like most of the time it's in 45, but if you can get really good at eyeballing stuff and fold like the third of an angle accurately, right? Things like that. And like you can see right there, I corrected. It's not fully to the corner, but I was able to just do that and correct the crease in place to the edge. You know, things like that is the experience you get from folding paper as you use it. And these are just some simple things that can make you better. So, you know, if you've been around the Discord community, you'll hear the term like skill issue, you know, all over the place. These are some of the things that you can like fix your skill issue with. It's just by, you know, being able to get this stuff out of the way so that you can focus on a lot of the other harder concepts. Yeah, you need to be able to fold precisely to get benefits of folding imprecisely for other models and whatnot, you know. And then like you take that, right, and then that was all a pre-crease for a janky 33-degree collapse, right? Now you have a bird base that doesn't really make sense, but you get the point, I think. And the same thing with reversing creases. Like obviously this paper is really easy to reverse, but you can practice, right? Like doing it in the air. I think don't restrict yourself to, oh, I have to reverse a crease like this. You know, practice reverse a crease like this, where you stick your fingernail underneath and you bring it to the edge, right? Because that's exactly what I'm doing here. Is these grids aren't even all going the same way. And I'm just using my fingernail underneath the paper to get them to go the right way. And for one, it speeds things up. And two, it makes it more accurate and precise and stuff like that. So it's an additional skill to like pick up. And you don't even have to do that kind of practice. If you just try folding models and never give up, then you can learn it that way too. But I think that one is like a bit more emotionally and mentally taxing than to practice the small stuff. Well, Mark, I have parchment paper I pleated and still waiting to fold. So one spider, can't remember who. It's in my in progress box. Hey, Mark, baking paper is viable. True. It's viable for origami. Use it for testing, test folding, and final folds. Yeah, I think baking paper works. I haven't used it myself personally, but if Mark says it works, actually, I know two Marks. There's Mark here, and then there's a Mark where it's a C instead of a K, and both are really good at using baking paper for origami. So I'm convinced. Do you think it's sold out because of me? Honestly, I think so. It's disclaimered that those are affiliate links on my website. And over the past 5 years, I've had like 40 to 50 or more confirmed sales from that affiliate link, and I think that's all they had in stock. So I think it's out because of me. Not fully because of me, but I've definitely contributed a lot to that stock going out. Crepe paper. I have not tried crepe paper. The closest I've probably gotten to crepe paper was just really bad tissue paper, I think. There's another example of me reversing a crease. Hold on, I'm confused. I think something is wrong here. That's supposed to be in the middle. We have a pleat here. That looks right. This is wrong. Two, 4, 2, 1, 4. This is wrong. Here, 1, 1, 2. Really? Wait a second. Oh, this is 3. Okay, I messed up the pre-creasing here. This is supposed to be 3, 2. I was like, this isn't lining up on the other side. What is going on here? 2, 1, then 4. And this brings it 1 unit closer. And that will line up. And then it's 4, 1. Wow, so we messed up pre-creasing on this twice. Thankfully, it won't matter in the end. 1, 1. This is 2. 1, 2. 2. One. Also, for pre-creasing, a lot of people ask me, like, boys, how are you supposed to pre-crease a crease pattern? This is how you're supposed to pre-crease a crease pattern. Or this is one way that you can learn, is you just look at the grid, you line up the corners of the grid, and you crease between them. And I'm doing it really fast, but again, folding in the air, great skill. All right. Now, there you go, that works. Alright, so we had 2 blunders so far, but that is okay. We caught them early enough. Thankfully, a lot of this just doesn't work if you do it wrong, so it's an easy catch. Okay, sorry. I messed up, so I had to correct myself, and now I can look at the chat a little bit more. Oh, the crumpled up ones. I haven't tried that, no. Easy Origami with AG. Hello, thanks for joining the stream. Night in VR. How are you? I'm doing pretty well. We weren't doing well, and then we fixed it, and now we're doing a lot better. You're making the Zoanoid Dragon right now. Awesome. That is a big challenge. I hope you have a lot of fun with that one. That's a very cool design. Zoanoid is not easy. That is right. That Zoanoid is not easy. Chukikata model with scales. Those words alone in combination sounds difficult. Collapsing the scales are hardened than collapsing the Ryujin 3.5. Yeah, it's basically like collapsing the Ryujin legs for like all of them, but the legs are slightly different. I think if you understand what's going on, then it's kind of the same, but in terms of like where it is on the paper, it's just kind of it's like way more technically demanding. So if people don't understand how the like pleats are formed and try to just brute force it by only collapsing what the crease pattern shows, they're in for a treat for sure. But probably shouldn't be folding it like that. It's way easier to fold it sequentially, and then I mean, even what I'm doing with the teeth is similar. They're just closer together. Wait, is this wrong too? Oh no, yeah, okay, it's like this. Is that right? There it is. Sorry, I'm like way out of frame. I started to go on the incorrect pre-creases from when I had messed up. But now we're back on track. What's up, Alman? Steve, boys, what kind of folding convention is this? Is like a long overlap with crimps? Okay, so this is not normal because of kind of how I designed it. Basically, it's a section of the model. So this whole, I can show a different one. So you can probably see that this grid is essentially twice the size of this section. So this section forms the head, and surrounding it is level shifters, which basically convert the big grid into half the grid size. So that's what all these things are here. And we folded all of those first, but we didn't fold the top ones because in order to fold the top ones, we need the rest of it to collapse inwards. And so now we're collapsing on the inside, and it's all going to converge together with all the level shifters lined together. So it's a lot happening at once. The inside section right now is all normal, like box pleat. So it's basically glorified sink folds. I'm just doing them one at a time. It just happens to also be connected very closely to level shifters, which is why it can't unfold or fold flat like you would normally be able to do. Which if it was, then that would really look like sink folds. But yeah, I think that's the easy way to put it. And it's also creating its own axis. So this is like the inside of the mouth, and it's an axis. So that's why it's bending all weird like this too. It's because we're treating it like an axis, which for me, it just helps it collapse. So I'm basically like ignoring everything else over here and just working on this. Treating it as its own thing. Because if I was too worried about everything else, I think it would make it a lot harder than it really needs to be. And since it's bumping into like my computer a whole bunch, I wouldn't even be able to keep things going well. Saw some more people. Hello, hello. Sorry guys, I missed out on a couple of stuff. Okay, bruh. Yeah, this is a big bruh. 120 diagonal grid is the worst. Yeah, I can imagine that. Like, I probably just wouldn't want to fold the grid itself more than I wouldn't want to fold scales. Is origami paper with a wide variety easily found in your country? Here in Indonesia, it's hard to find 50 centimeter or full origami paper in stores. For Indonesia, you can find a lot of it online. I have friends from Indonesia and they're able to find it. There is, which I'm not sure what your real name is, but there's a couple of Indonesian folders who have been participating in my OBB competitions. And they all access some sort of paper, and it looks like double tissue. And it looks like they make it themselves. And they fold very well with that paper. Big shout out to Indonesia. Thank you so much, Linda, for sponsoring some of those contestants. I'm excited to see more origami from Indonesia. I think y'all are starting to pop up on the map, and some great folders are on the way. I wish I could speak some Indonesian, but for Southeast Asia in general, I had like a link on my website where I have paper resources for as many regions of the world that I could find. I think I have Indonesia categorized within the Southeast Asia group. I can't remember what store or what online link I had for that, but you probably won't find them in stores. You'll have to get them online. But Asia in general is big on paper, so you can probably find it. You know, don't give up hope. It might be out there. If all else fails, shipping things from Japan should be possible. I know other things can be shipped from Japan. It might be more expensive, but I'm sure Indonesia's been developing quite a lot, and I think there's probably some good paper sources around there. But yeah, if you don't know, feel free to ask some of those Indonesian folders. Sorry, the topic I was getting on is reach out to those Indonesian folders who have been participating in my competition. You can ask them where they get their paper from, and they'll be able to help you a lot more than I probably can. What's up, Almond? Same in my country. Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is, like, for sure, America is a lot easier to get paper than other countries. However, I have seen people complain in America, which is really strange to me, but I think a lot of it, and even from other countries, as I found, where it is harder to get paper at this size, is that you just often just don't know where the places are. And from what I've experienced and talked with many international people, there's some really impressive people who have found a way, regardless of how limited their country is or not, or how much money they're able to spend on paper or not. And I am extremely impressed by like some of them, because they literally dug through everything they could and eventually found a way to be able to make their own double tissue, or to find their own papers, or they discovered, oh, this store actually does sell it online, and then they worked the job and saved up for it and did what they had to do to get it. So, you know, don't give up hope. Again, good paper, sure, it absolutely improves skill level, but baseline double tissue goes wonders. So you don't need extra fancy stuff like what I'm using, which actually what I'm using is considered cheap in Europe. It's just harder to get in America, so we consider it really fancy. And also, it's the folder first that applies the skill to be able to use the paper. So, you know, there's magic paper isn't going to magically make you better at origami. Being able to be better at origami and then getting the tools that can, you know, keep up with your skills, that's what's going to get you some better folds. And one of those skills is being able to source your own paper, whether that's saving up for it, working a job, resourcing for it, asking around, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I encourage y'all to do it. The only places I don't really know about in terms of paper is like countries in Africa. I just haven't talked to enough people who live in Africa to know where they get paper from. But from almost any other country, you know, Middle East, Dubai, India, you know, I'm trying to think of other things. Indonesia, Thailand, all those places have access to paper. Japan, South America, especially Brazil. Anywhere in Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. Obviously, North America, Canada, very, very easy. Yeah, as I find more though, like again, I want to be able to help people find their papers too. That's why I made that app on my website. I think if you go to obb.design/skill issue, there's a regional quiz, and I found as many as I could for people to be able to source paper. This is getting stuck a little bit. I didn't pre-crease it well enough. And there we go. You got India? I do have India. Yeah. Amazon. And with specific links. And also, India, you guys have an origami magazine called Kagazi. And you should reach out to any of the members of Kagazi. Ask what paper they use, because they make some incredible designs. They've been putting a lot of great work to showcase, you know, India's talent in origami. So if you India bros haven't seen Kagazi magazine yet, that's your India bros. And there's a lot of really good resources out there for folders in India. Another place I think is just popping off on origami. You know, your guys' community is growing. You got some cool designers out there. Great talent. So, you know, and there's paper. It's harder, but there is paper out there. I think the hardest thing in India to do is to import paper, but within India and shipping within India, you can find it. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks for the link drop. Yeah, Shangnora, exactly. One of the great examples of someone from India doing really great origami work. Hit him up. Yeah, probably not as much handmade, or if any, it probably had to be imported, but double tissue and tissue papers or kite papers, crepe papers. You know, I tried to browse the Amazon India as much as possible with the conversion rate set to India to see what was available. And I think there's a link on there for India. Northeast India. Yeah, right. India's big. So depending on the region, might change. I don't know how customs work between China and India, or if you can ship easily from China to India. But China has really good papers, so if you can, there's that. I just hope there's no like customs fees. But yeah, they're really not really close, but they're closer than iron. And China obviously ships to America, so I imagine they can ship to India. And that's where this paper's from. So, all right, we did one head. Now we're not done with this head. We still have the horns to do, but what I like to do first is the 192nd divisions for the teeth. And these are pleats. Very fun. And we can do them sequentially because we folded everything first. And now to do it, we have to unfold it a little bit. But this is also really satisfying. So I'm just unwrapping this whole thing. $5,500. I assume that's expensive in conversion rates. Hanji is Korean, so that seems like it'd be expensive. But yeah, shop around on there. And again, maybe not handmade papers, but double tissue can take you a long, long ways. So. Yeah, India in general is growing. So while there might not be a market for handmade papers now, I hope that there'll be a market later down the line. Oh, Dave, what's going? Sorry, I missed your chat. Hello, hello. How's it going? We're talking about paper. Accessing paper in other countries as well. So what we're doing here is after we spread these layers, I'm dividing the pleats. So we're folding through these layers. Sorry, I'm kind of out of frame. But we're dividing them in half. And that's pretty small. But that's what we're going to use to create the pleats for our teeth. And the structure for it, all it really is a squash fold and then a closed sink. The challenge of it is you can notice I have to do this in the air with very thin flaps. 192, another half pleat, and you'll be on Age Dragon Zone. Yeah, thankfully, even with this paper, which is only 65 centimeters, it's not anything close to a meter or anything. It's still fine. Like, it's not that small. Kinda. It's definitely small, but it's not, like, ridiculous where I have to use tweezers. I'm gonna fold this one this way. The ones towards the head get a little bit more difficult because the head isn't fully unfolded. So it's not flat on the back and it's just harder to grab. Harder to line up a little bit, but that just means you gotta be more careful and more delicate. 5,500 is a lot for papers. That makes sense. Let me look at my own skill issue page and see what tissue paper I found. Hold on. for India. Yeah, it's 190. 190 in India for 20 by 30 inches, which is like 45 centimeters by 55 centimeters, 60 centimeters. It's 30 inch. No, 20 inch. That's 50 centimeter tissue. Yeah, you can make like pretty much every single. You can make every single origami model with that. You can make JSL with double tissue. That's what people use. I don't think many of the JSL folds are actually handmade papers. Now, to do stuff like my models, handmade papers really, really help. But the Assassin, that was double tissue. I just heavily prefer handmade tissue or handmade papers over double tissue. But that's because of this very specific shaping I do. It's not actually because of folding. And so I'd say unless if you're trying to exactly shape like I do in my exact style, which you probably don't know what my exact style is since you're not me, you know, you can get away with double tissue for nearly everything. Yeah, one day, hopefully. Honestly, I wish I could send you guys like handmade tissues, but I think India would make you guys pay customs, which I don't want to do that. that's not fun. Customs are tough, man. Customs are really tough. I wish we could all just send each other awesome papers for like cheap, right? Have the country that has certain papers like Germany and stuff with Wenzhou send, because the shipping isn't even really too expensive depending where you live. It's just the customs that are crazy. Crazy. Satin wrap is a good brand of tissue paper. Is satin wrap in India? But if it's in general, yeah, probably. That's good to know. Thank you. I'm not sure exactly what tissue I use. I just kind of get whatever. Okay, so there's our squash fold. How many sheets? This is 35. 35 sheets for 160. 75 centimeter by 50 centimeters. Like I have the link, guys. Mark posted it. So click that link, select India, and there's a link directly to it. You can check it out. There might even be better ones. This is just one of the ones I found and linked. I wish I didn't have to like go off camera so much, but the paper is just too big for my desk. Suggest some designs for red. Ooh, well, I mean, Ancient Dragon looks good in red, obviously. But if you, yeah, I think maybe you've already done that. Something for you to design in red, Shangnara, or some existing design to fold in red? Which one are you asking for? Yeah, Ancient Dragon is good. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Goku Kao Ken. It's very red. West. Oh yeah, there you go. If the counter to Ancient Dragon, Shukikado's Western Dragon also looks really good in red. Yeah, dragons in general. So you could even say like Miyamoto Chira's Wyvern. Other things that look good in red. Honestly, Red Phoenix is decent. Joker on Twitter has a Rathalos that's red. That one's pretty cool. Crease pattern's not too hard either. Okay, we almost have all these done. We just got one more and then we can start doing the sync folds. I made it last week, 40 centimeters. A square twist samurai looks crazy in red. That's true. That is true. If you want to see what it looks like, thank you, Mark. Always on time. That's what it would look like in red. I don't have 40 centimeters sand. 30 by 30. Bugs. There's some sun beetles. Sun beetle looks good in red. By Damien Maliki. There's some other bugs that might... Not all beetles look good in red, but there are some red bugs that might look good. Sometimes I feel like I planned these random plugs. They're perfect, Mark. They're perfect. Hello. Welcome back. All right, so now we just have to close sync these and they're going to turn into pleats. So they don't look that cool right now, but once they turn into pleats and I close the structure back up, you're going to be able to tell how these will eventually turn into the teeth. And I think that's what we'll do. Or I might collapse the horn first and then fold them into teeth, just so I don't forget. Honestly, getting those middle flaps for horns might even be harder than the teeth. Now, actually, it's a closed sync for one. It's technically an unsync for the other, but the unsync's really easy if you just pre-crease or reverse fold right here. Wonder if craft paper is good for Dragon Slayer? Probably not. That design is very inefficient and janky. And then in combination with craft paper, probably not a good idea. Is it foldable? It's super foldable. Is it good to shape? Probably not. The design looks cool, but that's mostly due to how I shaped it. The actual structure is not very good. You would have a better shot at folding this dragon probably than the Dragon Slayer. You might be able to... I've seen the Dragon Knight done from craft before. Again, I normally wouldn't recommend that, but I think that's also better. A better option. By the way, boys, I think it's nighttime. Yeah. It's not too late at night. We are, I think, 11. It's either 12 or 13 hour. I just said 3 different numbers. I think it's a 12-hour distance. For my job, I used to work with some people who lived in Bangalore. So sometimes I'd have to have meetings at this time, and we would talk about work stuff. And you know me, I always stream. These YouTube streams, I think the best time zone to be in is in India to watch these, because it's too late for East Coast of America. It's also late for West Coast of America, but there's some people who can watch, who stay up late with me. Australia is okay. Japan, I think, is okay. We had K here earlier, even. And India is great. It's a little bit too early for parts of Europe. And unless I stream like way later, which sometimes I do. But today is actually an early stream, even though it's already nighttime. It's technically early for me. But I mentioned at the beginning of the stream my plan for tonight. We're going to be staying up late. So I'm going to be streaming until midnight my time. So we got 1 more hour of stream. And then after that, I have to practice for a tournament. It's actually, I'm playing in an amateur Apex Legends tournament. So it's a gaming tournament tomorrow. So I have to practice with my team. But that's pretty fun. Just playing games. And then after the practice, I'm going to be editing the 2-headed dragon tutorial. Probably for another 2 or 3 hours. So then it'll be 5 a.m. in the morning. And then I will sleep. And then wake up to play in the gaming tournament. And then if I had finished the tutorial, depending when the tournament ends, which probably depends if we win or not, I'll either post the tutorial tomorrow at nighttime or Sunday. So it'll already be Sunday for you guys in India. But it'll be later or earlier for me, I think. My uncle lives in Bangalore. 11:25. Okay, yeah, so it's like in the middle of the day. And a 4:45 p.m. Ah. Yeah, craft paper is normally just good for practices. And yeah, Mark answered that question. Now it's a cool octagon. That's true. He does computer stuff. Cool. I play... Dude, Modern Warfare 2 is a great game. Exams just got over yesterday. Now it's origami time. Let's go. Okay. Just in time for potentially the tutorial or the first part of it when it comes out. I'm watching House of the Dragon. Very nice. I see. Big exam time. Yeah, it's important to study. Makes a lot of sense. Why it's not origami time yet. Steve is in San Francisco. It's perfect for you. Cool. By the way, Steve, since you just got back into origami, there is a origami convention. I think there's 2. Let me check this in case you want to attend. The first one is UC Berkeley's East Bay Origami Convention, which will happen this Sunday, March 19th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Let me just here. Hold on. Let me send you this link. I not sure if it's free. I don't think it's free. I'm actually not sure at all. I should probably know. But let me send this in case you are within the area. If not, there is another origami convention called the Pacific Coast Origami Convention. And that's happening in maybe October. And that's going to be in San Francisco. And I'll be there. I won't be at the one this weekend, but I'll be in the one in later down the line. Let me send that. Let me find it for you. And I think those would be pretty good to go to if you're able to, since you're right in town. OBB gaming. I am gaming tomorrow or later today. So feel free to check those out, and then maybe we can meet at the October one. That'd be pretty cool. What paper would I use for region 3.5? Yeah, 1 to 1.5 meter is exactly correct. Can I make insect tutorials? I don't really design insects, so I can't really make tutorials on them. I'm actually not very good at insects. So I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's not really, it's not that I can't. I'm not as interested in insects either. So it's just not it's not really my thing. So probably won't see that from my channel. The dragon and the phoenix are already outliers in terms of what I normally do. You'll see a lot of humanoid. And also the tutorials, I think for at least the next half year is kind of booked. I think we're going to hit 10,000 subscribers relatively soon. So I got to start planning that tutorial as well, which will be for the assassin. That one should be pretty fun. I think that'll be a good tutorial as well. It's going to be a better tutorial than this two-headed dragon one, because it's kind of easier to teach. And the grid is smaller too, so that's really nice. And the pre-creasing makes sense. And all the details are sequential. So like overall, it's like a better design. 2 meters if you can control, else otherwise the paper will fold you into region. That's funny. Sweet. Sign up for Sunday. Awesome. I think you will have a lot of fun with that. They have some pretty cool special guests coming to that convention as well. I think Bernie Payton, he's an absolute legend. All right, so the teeth are done. I don't like that this isn't collapsed. Normally I would start collapsing the other head before I do all these details, but that's okay. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is the rest of these horns, and this is kind of weird to teach. I'm kind of worried about this for people who try to fold it. It's just kind of weird. We are already curving our axis away from the rest of the paper, and this one does it away from this axis, so it's like, and it doesn't really have to be clean because they're horns, and ultimately it'll just be how we shape it later. But it just looks really odd and confusing while I'm trying to teach it. It looks simple on the crease pattern though. It doesn't look like this would be the hard part of the crease pattern, even though it is. This is probably the hardest part of the crease pattern, is collapsing these horns. And it's mostly because of everything else that is present. I sleep in my paper. That's how you get really good, right? Do I play Supercell games? No, not really. I play Apex Legends, I play Valorant, and I play TFT and Monster Hunters. That's mostly all I have time for. I play some other games just for fun. I play Genshin Impact, of course. Very important. That one's a great game for studying for human origami designs. Yeah, tracing paper. Okay, so let's turn this paper this way. I'm gonna have to like hold it against my stomach to collapse this a little bit easier. Let's do this side first. Okay, that's one. Let's get the other one. Okay, this is like so much worse to do without the other head collapsed than when it's already collapsed. So I'm glad in the tutorial I taught it by collapsing both heads first and then doing this. I can see now how much easier it is to do it that way instead of doing it this way. This is why sometimes the order of collapse is very important. Okay, so our horns are not going to be super closed until we actually do it on the other side, but I think that's okay for now because they're going to be shaped out anyways. But for the most part, that should be good enough. It's surely not bad. We have the two horns. They're just a little bit wonky. But yeah, okay, you see what I mean? That's like the worst part of the whole crease pattern. And we just had to do it 2 more times. But already, like, I think most of the time we spent is all on the head. This is how intensive just the head is, and we're not done yet. We have all these teeth. What is the website I used to buy big sheets of paper, and what are the prices? So this specific one, which is 65 centimeters, is from eBay. 1x10 meter roll that I treat myself was about $30 US. That's pretty expensive. That's more expensive than I normally get paper for. Normally I get them for like $5 US. The fancy ones, they're like $8 US per sheet. But I got sponsored and I had the company send me a bunch of their sheets for free, and they're already big. So that was my hack. I didn't have to buy them. I just treat them. I just worked hard enough to be able to get a sponsorship for free. That's not going to be everyone. Most everyone else is going to have to buy it. So you don't have to use that exact paper, but same company sells them for cheaper, like $2 a sheet of paper, which is still kind of expensive. It's from Blick Arts. You can find them on my website. And that's all the paper I buy is from my website. Like I have the links there. If I use paper any larger, I probably use my technique to make smaller sheets into larger sheets. Hopefully that helps. The largest I normally get is this size that comes like 65 centimeters. Anything larger than this is going to be putting multiple sheets together to make one large sheet. Lucky, yes, lucky indeed. Also, a ridiculous amount of work, like thousands of hours of work to get to the point where they can send me paper. Boys, not origami related question. What's your favorite Twice? Oh, Mark, I want you to guess what my favorite Twice song is first, and I will confirm. I'll give you 2 guesses, and we'll see how close you get. And hold up, I actually have to Google what the correct English name is. Is it this one? Hold up. I don't think you guys can hear the... If you guys hear the audio, that's going to be really awkward. Because I will have to mute it for the MCA. Hopefully... Is it this one? Or is it the other one? I think it's this one, yeah. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Let's see. What's Mark's guess? Oh, you're close. You're close. That was the... That's maybe my second favorite song. That was really close. Yeah, the Fearless Flourish collection is crazy. If you want to see fancy papers, that collection is nuts. He's got a lot of cool papers in that. So I think this is a great display of my dexterity skill, is folding these little pleats just with my hand. The tutorial, I recommend doing this with tweezers, and then I show it with tweezers, but you don't really need to use tweezers if you've practiced them a whole bunch like I have. 5 heads in a month. Is the song is not inside one of my signed albums. It is a newer-ish song. That album is old. That's an old album for sure. Relative to when Twice got even more popular in more of the Western world. Can't Stop Me. Nope, not that one. My favorite Twice song is Feel Special. That's why I was close to Fancy, because like they both start with F, and they don't really sound the same, but they're kind of similar. I think they came out relatively close to each other too. Right in the middle, yeah. That is an excellent question. Listen to a lot of funk. Nice. Do you like work out to the funk? Because man, working out while listening to funk music it's so motivational. You're just like oh, get those gains, get those muscles. In my case, I don't lift weights, but I do tricking. So I do flips. And one of the guys at our gym, he plays a lot of that music. And it gets really hype because that helps for doing flips. It's that extra energy. Some good stuff. While I fold origami, I've been listening to I've been listening to a lot of like Hololive music or anime songs because it's like chill, or just like covers and stuff of other songs. And then on the other end, I don't know if you guys know what rhythm is. It's another subgenre of EDM. It's like subtronics. And then Crank That, he's come back. He's not really rhythm, but he's got some stuff that goes really hard. Bass music with like melodical drops. If I need to like wake up, I'll listen to that. Funk is seriously good. It is. Where did it come from? Like Memphis. I forget, but all of it, the subgenres where funk came from is good stuff too. I play classical piano and listen to drift funk. Nice. I learned classical piano as a kid too. And I think there's a relationship between classical piano and EDM because like at least a lot of people who listen to it. I know I know some like DJs and producers who studied classical music and then turned into like EDM producers and stuff. Like future bass stuff because at least the thing I like in classical music was pieces with like a lot of arpeggios. It's just like the flow was really cool, and then the music, oh lo and behold, some of the EDM stuff I listen to, it's got a lot of that kind of arpeggio effect or just like bass music. It's pretty exciting. What website has free origami models? YouTube. Joe Nakashima. Probably. Instagram. Yes, Instagram has some if you know who to follow. A lot of crease patterns. Same with Twitter. If you're over the age of 13, you can join Origami Dan as well. And we have a lot of stuff there. Joe Nakashima. I think if you look up the words origami tutorial, his channel will pop up. Favorite anime opening? Ooh, that's tough. There's so many like classic openers that are absolutely amazing. There's also a lot of new shows with really good openings as well. I think almost every song that came from Naruto is an absolute banger. The Tokyo Ghoul opening is kind of a meme, but at the time, it slapped really hard. More recently, Chainsaw Man's opening, really, really good. Kickback, I think it's called. Same with and then every single song from Bochi to Rock Super, super good. Cyberpunk Edge Runners had really good music. Yeah, okay. We don't need to talk another rant about Mariano. That we can save that for. I don't have the energy to talk about it now. But Joe Nakashima, he's a good dude. Same with Tadashi Mori. Tadashi's got some cool stuff. Origami Siesta, if you want some more complex stuff. And if you want really, really crazy stuff, you can check out Obelisk Chen Zhao. Which, Mark, can you drop Obelisk's YouTube channel in the chat for everyone? Because he released a new tutorial recently for Dante. And that will keep almost anyone busy because that's going to be a tough one to fold for sure. But it's really cool that he made a tutorial. Obelisk, our beloved. Thank you, thank you. I remember you did a challenge with Tadashi. Yeah, that was so much fun. I hope to do another collaboration with Tadashi soon. I know he's pretty busy right now. I'm pretty busy right now too, so we haven't been able to do another video, but I've been thinking some ideas. I think one of my next origami YouTuber collaborations, though, besides the artist, but like an actual YouTuber, it's probably I want to ask Fearless Flourish to do stuff. I have kind of an idea, but I need to think about it a little bit more and then pitch it to him. It's been a while since I've done stuff with Grant. I think like 3 years. Boys, will you contact Chen for a future origami challenge since he mostly designs 22.5? He does know about the competition for sure. I know he's busy right now. I don't want to pressure him to. I think I value his work too much to ask for him to diagram it for my competition. Maybe if he has a spare diagram lying around, we could use that. But yeah, it's like it's a lot of work for some of his models. I'd love to have him be the designer for an OBB competition. So potentially in the future, I do have a means to ask. But I want Obelisk to get paid more than I would be able to pay him for his design. I think they're like too cool. I can't offer enough that I think it's worth, but if he's down, of course, absolutely. How old am I? That's a personal question. I'm in my 20s. I'll give you that. I'm old enough to drink alcohol and have a job outside of college. I don't want to dox myself though. I'm old. I'm not that old, but you're 14. Nice. Watching voice folding an insane 3-headed dragon, and it makes my Indominus Rex unfolding. Oh no! Hey, Indominus Rex has a cool T structure. Honestly, that teeth. If I don't know if you're doing the one with teeth or without teeth, but hey, Jason Koo, that guy's got some cool designs. Dominus Rex is a good model, man. Don't downplay yourself. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. But you are correct that I'm folding a ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. This thing is, it's silly. It's a silly 3-headed dragon. The 2-headed one's cool. The 3-headed one's a little too ridiculous. But thank you. Thank you. I could guess that you are younger than me. What type of alcohol do I drink? Or super doxing. I don't want to demonetize my YouTube video, so we won't talk about it much, but drink responsibly, don't drink too much. I like plum wine. That's my most favorite thing I've had recently at a Japanese sushi restaurant. They had some plum wine from Japan. What's it called? Ume something. That was good. That was good stuff. I see it in anime a lot, and I wanted to try it myself. It went really well with sushi. I had a negihama rice, negihama-don. It's a, I know the Japanese name. I think it's yellowtail, like fatty yellowtail and seaweed in a rice bowl. And it had some ginger and onions and nori, which is seaweed, mixed in. So it's like a very oily but clean tasting rice bowl. And it was accentuated by the plum wine, which is like, it had a little bit of sweet initial flavor and a savory after flavor. And that went really well together. It's good stuff. Umeshu. Ah, yeah, Kay knows. That's good stuff. Okay, I need to come to Japan and try it for real in Japan. What is the best tasting paper? You know, I did a taste test of Lupchi back in the day. Fearless's paper. I was one of his first customers for that Lupchi. And I had a request to taste. There's like a little bit of extra on it. That didn't come from the square. Or that was unnecessary from the square. And Stream requested I taste it. I think it was Branko. Maybe that wanted me to taste it. If you guys know Branko. Branko the Alien. The real OGs will know who Branko the Alien is. Yeah. So maybe, let's say Lupchi tastes the best. It didn't taste good. Best tasting paper is probably rice paper that you can use to make spring rolls and stuff like that. That's pretty good. I don't know if that counts as paper, like folding paper. But they call it paper. But that's like a real food, I guess. I've eaten printer paper before too. As a kid, I had my Dan kid moments as well. Just eating paper for no apparent reason. I do not recommend. It's much better folded. So fold your printer paper, don't eat it. Oh, banana paper. That probably does, actually. That makes sense, because I mean, banana peel doesn't taste good, and you probably shouldn't eat it, but some people do eat it. And it might have banana flavor. Interesting. Yeah, be responsible with alcohol. Alcohol is really dangerous. If drunken irresponsibly. You are too young. Probably shouldn't dive too much into it, but in terms of making food taste good, I think there's an art to it. But let's not talk more about that because we're doing origami. And YouTube will eventually catch on and probably age restrict the video. I do know the a lot of origami folders. Origami and alcohol is it's a good pastime. There's plenty of folding in bars. It's kind of a fun thing to do. How about folding paper with your mouth? Fold with your tongue. I saw a video of a guy doing a crane in his mouth. I've also seen some funny videos of that being faked by other people, but I think that guy did it legit. He could do it with his tongue. That's crazy. I don't know how they do that. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think it tastes good either. Like if you by the time you actually fold a crane with your mouth, you'll be tasting a little bit of it for sure. It's disgusting. I'm gonna try it. That's funny. Okay, so we are done with the teeth, by the way. I just kind of finished them up. We can do some of the details to just fold the jaw down. And then I think we can just move on to the next head. I thought this process would take the rest of the hour, but I guess it didn't. Just totally fine. But I don't think I'll be able to finish another head by the time the stream's over. We'll just keep folding and chatting, and I'll probably slow down a little bit, and then I'll just answer as many questions as I can. Do a reunion with your mouth. That's crazy. My goodness. It already takes so long. Can you imagine how long that would take someone to do? Did we get to eating paper again? Unknown easy too. Yes, we were talking about eating paper again. Unfortunately. It's about that time in the stream where the weird conversations start to happen. Thunder. Folded my first 2 Robert Lang models, and they were definitely hard. I wanted a challenge, and I got it. Awesome. I hope it was fun then, even though they were hard. It sounds like they were fun since you were looking for it. But that's good to hear. I think that is a correct approach to Robert Lang models, for sure. It's definitely a fun way to approach it. Sorry, I'm out of frame. There we go. You see how the jaw's forming? Pretty neat, huh? What tastes better, MC or glue? MC is actually edible. You've probably eaten it in other foods before. On its own, I would not eat it. I do not recommend that. glue, some glues are toxic free, other glues are toxic. So I don't recommend eating those either. And I don't imagine the toxic free ones taste good. I think they taste pretty bad. You know, there's like dessert glue that they like make cakes out of that's made of sugar. You can eat that. That tastes pretty good. I bet you could shape origami with it too because it's sticky. And then you would just attract like ants and animals to eat the origami. So probably a bad idea, but if you wanted to really make it at least taste sugary, you could do that. Maybe I should finish my Indominus Rex with my tongue. That's funny. That's next level wet folding right there. We're literal 6-year-olds. Oh, someone deleted a comment. Uh-oh. All right, guys, chill. Don't go too crazy. Thank you. What's MC? MC is methyl cellulose. It's what we use to shape and wet fold and treat paper and stuff. MC is actually really good. Interesting. I wouldn't know. I'll take your word for it. What's the point of eating paper and glue? Yeah, I don't know, guys. Where did this come from? I was talking about sushi and stuff, but that tastes way better than paper does. I'm gonna design a stag beetle. Nice. You know, so on the side, it's funny you say that, Drayden. On the side of my setup, like over here, I have like 3 cups. Normally one of them is like either a sparkling water, the other one is regular water, and then I have my MC. And my MC, if you saw in my paper videos, it's in like a Starbucks mug. There's so many times I've been really close to drinking out of that MC cup because it's a Starbucks mug and I forget sometimes. And then thankfully I always look because I kind of subconsciously know not like I'm trying not to drink the MC. So I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's my Starbucks mug with MC. Don't drink that. I drink the real water instead. What's the hardest model I've made? I answered that question like 2 streams ago and I totally forgot what I said. I can't remember what I said. Does anyone remember what I said as the hardest thing I folded? I can't remember. But I don't really think things are very hard anymore. Even if I had some difficulties, I've rarely come across something that was hard. Hard to fold, at least. Maybe hard to shape. It's a different thing. Or something, because like, if I shaped it badly, I probably struggled in shaping. It doesn't really mean it's hard. It's just I was bad. I had skill issue. So it's kind of hard to find something that's... English, what a limited language. It is difficult to narrow down the hardest thing I folded. Because it might seem hard to other people, but if it was easy to me, it kind of just means I understood it more. So it wasn't that hard. Haven't folded through 3. I've done the 3.5. It was pretty easy. But that's only because I knew every single structure in it and knew what I was getting into. I have not done JSL yet. I think if I do JSL, that would probably be the hardest thing I fold. But again, I haven't done it yet. It's JSL, not JPL. what's my favorite model? My favorite model is often the thing I recently folded because it's recency bias. And generally, since I fold things I want to fold or make cool, it's kind of it. I think one of my favorite things I've done recently is the square twist samurai and the dragonplate sword assassin. I've also really liked the two-headed dragon. So I think at the moment right now, it's probably the two-headed dragon. The collection, the two-headed, the one-headed, the three-headed is kind of meh for me right now, but the two-headed and one-headed ones were really fun. Still trying to figure out JSL. Make a model from 5 to 10 millimeter paper. I've done small stuff before. But see, it's like it's not really a hard thing. You just intentionally make it harder for yourself. So it's like a different approach. Like obviously you could give yourself an impossible task and call it hard. But there's a lot of range, right? Like a lot of people can, like I could probably fold something from ridiculously small paper, but would it be good? Probably not. And I care more about an aesthetic model nowadays than making it more difficult on myself to prove something or to do like a record size. I'm not as interested in that. You know, some people are. That's just not me. My Ryujin's small. You know, I made that harder for myself because I wanted to see if it was hard, and it wasn't. But it's not like I gave myself an impossible size where the result would turn out bad. Is I had a slightly harder size with a much worse paper and gave it a good result. And that was the thesis of that one. Ooh, Shangnar is gonna try JSL. Let's go. That's a cool model, man. I like lobsters. They taste good, and they look good as origami. So I think it'd be cool. What's your favorite origami book? I'm looking for new stuff to fold. My favorite origami book is probably the second print of Origami Sea Life by Robert Lang and John Montrell. I recently acquired the book again. It's not the exact print I originally had, but it has the same models in it. Let me grab it so you can see it. So this second edition $19.90. That's before I was born, and that is before a lot of you guys were born too. And this was one of my first origami books after I started to like learn origami. I got it when I was in 4th grade, so I think I was like 12, 11. And I couldn't fold like any of these models until later when I was, you know, much more advanced. Then I came back to the book and folded a lot of it and learned that, oh, that's how everything works. But I certainly tried to fold them when I was a kid. Like I tried to fold this from printer paper. Obviously it didn't work. Same with the crabs. I was able to do the barracuda, and I think that was the hardest thing I could do at the time. Now, you know, and then later on I could fold everything. I did the purple sea urchin. I did the horseshoe crab. I've done the blue shark. If you guys have seen the blue shark collab I did, it's kind of an old post from, I think, 2019. But my friend, he did some awesome doodle art all over the shark. And I made that from a 266 centimeter square. It's a really big shark. And that one's cool. What else have I done? I need to do more of these. I've done the hermit crab is one of my favorite designs from this book. It's really cool. Same with the shells. All the shells. The murex is really cool. The nautilus shell is really cool. I want to do the cuttlefish. That looks fun. Yeah, well, what a cool book, right? You can see why my first design was a fish, because I was very inspired by this book back in the day. That's a good book right there. I'm extremely proud of my origami book collection. Once I got a job and started to have some extra money to buy origami books, I bought a lot of origami books. All the ones that I wished I could have had when I was younger that I couldn't, afford. Bought as many as I could. Looks like there's some cool stuff in there. I'll check it out. Yeah. That book was printed a lot. If you have like a used bookstore that you're near, maybe they have it too. Who knows? Like I picked up that copy in a used bookstore because I wanted to find another copy. There's a third edition now. I'm not sure if they did a third edition. There was like a couple reprints of the second edition. It just had a different cover on it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, Vogue, the Vietnamese origami group. Both books or all of the books are good. Vogue 1, Vogue 2, and I think Terry's got another one from them too. Those are great books. Ermakov did it, Earth from a Stand. The Earth. That is a cool design. Have y'all seen Andrei Ermakov's most recent design? It's the his new beetle. That thing is pretty crazy. Are you folding yet? I'm about to go watch Shazam. Well, I hope you have a fun time watching Shazam. I enjoyed the first movie a lot. I haven't seen the second one yet. But I mean, we've been folding. We folded one of the three heads. We're about to end stream. I got to get going soon, so I'm just gonna kind of chat a little bit. Because the next things here, like I have to just pre-crease this next head and the one after that too. So okay, maybe I can do that while I chat with you guys, but I just want to answer questions for the most part. Fold a square. What is the model anyone's here folded that looks crazily complex but is actually easy? Ryujin. It's just super tedious. It takes forever. But like a lot of intermediate level folders have done Ryujin. It just takes a lot of time. Maybe it's not easy, but if you're like a super complex folder, you probably won't find it that hard. It just takes forever. I'm gonna watch Puss in Boots: Last Wish. I heard it was a really good movie. I want to watch Puss in Boots actually as well. All right, yeah, guys, don't dox each other. We don't need to know each other's ages. Did I get a girlfriend with origami? Maybe. Right now, no. Maybe in the past. I won't confirm or deny that statement, but I'll say it works. I don't know. It wasn't the origami. Maybe. Who knows? I think it's useful if you want. You can make some cute stuff and impress someone. They're probably more impressed with like a rose and a heart than like an ancient dragon or something. But oh, I just lost where my crease was. Where is it? Here it is. Zonoid is harder than 3.5. Yeah, I think so. It could help if you learn roses. Yep. Voice is... I've done the rose trick before. I'll confirm. Roses work. Roses work well. All right, y'all want secret tech? What you do, you get real roses, and you fold an origami rose and you hide it in the bouquet of real roses. See if they can find it. And if they can't find it, then point it out because you spent time folding it. I think that would impress someone. That'd be pretty cool. I may or may not have done that before. Voice is flexing on us by saying 3.5 is easy. Reusers. Yeah, it is. And you should take it as encouragement that you too can one day think Ryujin is easy. It's a frame of perspective. You know, if you're ready for the Ryujin, you can prepare yourself enough for the Ryujin that it's easy. You can also not prepare yourself for it, and it'll probably be hard. But I'd say the difficulty is the same as a math class, right? If you don't study for any of the exams, it's going to be a really hard class. If you just take the math class and do all the work, study a little bit, you might get an average grade. Class might be kind of difficult still, but at least you didn't fail the class. If you study all the material for the class, not all the material, but most of the material before you even take the class is going to be super easy, right? The same concept as Ryujin. Another boy secret in life for classes. If possible, study for it before you even take the class, and you'll get a really good grade. That trick actually works. Relationship advice with OBB. There you go. Only Chris has succeeded in pulling an origami girlfriend. Wasn't there someone else that made a life-size origami girl? Not only yeah, you can't only do origami. That's exactly right. I'm going back to second grade. Yeah, see, exactly. If second grade would be really easy, right? If you go back to it because you've done it already before. That's the ultimate life hack though. Study for your classes before you take the class and get an easy grade. When I was trying to find time to do origami in college, there were some classes I would do that. And it works a lot in university because they give you a syllabus, which basically is a outline of all the material, like all the things the course is going to study. And because with some universities, it's like the only grades you get are from exams. So they tell you like everything you're going to learn in that class. And if they don't tell you what you're going to learn, you can go online, look the class up. You can even find that same class probably like by MIT or Harvard or Stanford and look at their syllabus because it's public. And then you'll understand all the topics you need to learn for that class. And then you can just YouTube, you know, your heart's content, or you can just like MIT and Stanford, they post a lot of articles online publicly for like math and computer science and other sciences and literature. So you can learn a lot on your own before you ever take the class. Because like, I don't know about you, but some schools, like the professor goes super slow and then you end up like not being able to learn anything at all. So why rely on that when you can just learn it beforehand? And then it doesn't matter if you learn it from the professor or not. I think if the professor's good and you already learned it, then you'll remember it even longer. But if they're bad, then you already learned it, so it's okay. Ryujin is difficult until you fold it. Yeah, exactly. A for average. Yeah, see, exactly. A for average. Don't you study math by doing math? So do... Yeah. That's how you learn it. You practice... I mean, the thing is, to practice for Ryujin, you don't have to fold a full Ryujin. You can fold each part individually. Like, the scales... It's the same kind of thing here. You spread squash, you closing. Leg thing, it just manipulated middle flaps with that too. And some of them are just ridge. They're on the ridge. So you squash them along the ridge. Like, that's not a good ridge example. Squash it along a ridge. And then it level shifts there and it turns into a pleat. I think the most difficult part of the Ryujin, it's not the body, legs, or scales or anything. It's the head, and shaping the head, because the head is just composed of mostly like flaps and reverse holds, and then there's a couple transitions from the grid into the head. Those are a little bit wonky, and then just maintaining all the middle flaps can get really messy. So basically, what I did here. These horns. There's like 6 of these in the Ryujin head. And that might be hard if you don't know how to do middle flaps, but you can practice those. Right? That's super easy to practice. Don't you learn trigonometry in 9th grade? Trigonometry is probably my least favorite class in math. I think calculus was my favorite. Except for Calc 2. I didn't like Calc 2. Well, okay, part of the ones where they tell you to like do all the weird integration by part cases just for the sake of knowing them. It's like, all right, I get there's all special cases, we know the general structure, but having to do substitutions with like really edge cases, and like I just feel that's a bad way to test someone's knowledge. I don't know, it's just me. Oh, okay. We have 2 more minutes until I'm supposed to end stream. So, okay, we'll stop here for now. Just answer the rest of the questions, and then we'll start heading out. I'll give a couple more announcements, and then we'll be done for today. Let's bring our dragon friends out again. I like how the wing kind of looks like it's spiraling in. It's pretty neat. You can see I kind of did the same concept for the next one. I have advanced math, so I'm learning everything advanced. Sweet. Calculus is pretty fun, so hopefully you get to that. I did computer science in university. So that's kind of engineering, but engineers probably won't call me engineer. Most math I did was like linear algebra, calculus, that's multivariable calculus. I think multivariable calculus is easier to learn than regular calculus for the first time. Because like once you know how to do it, it's kind of the same. And then I did theoretical computer science. That's some math. Did cryptography. That's like that's also math. But that's more fun math. And then the math I didn't like as much was discrete math. And that's like proofs and stuff. Proofs and logic. The logic stuff's fun. The proof stuff is not as fun. I do engineering in university and find from Robert Lang's book, math is good for origami design. Yeah, you can definitely use, you don't have to use it. Like, I don't really use math in my origami design, but it is one way that can create some cool origami for sure. 2.1 isn't really Baby Ryujin. There's a Ryujin 64. That's the 1.2 in a 64 grid. That's kind of Baby Ryujin. There's Jason Koo made a Baby Ryujin as well. I suggested my non-origami friend to fold the newest Dragonfly by Joe because it involves a Pythagorean stretch. Yeah, that's cool. That's good stuff. What about science? I took physics with calculus and geology. Physics with calculus, that's because I liked calculus. It was just mechanics. I didn't do thermal. No, I did do thermal. I didn't do... No, yeah, I just did mechanics. I didn't do thermal. I didn't have to for computer science. Geology was fun. That was cool. The university I went to, there's a lot of natural rock structures around. So we would go on like hikes and sample the rocks and stuff. That was cool. Will I ever use that in my life? Probably not, but it was more interesting than I thought it would be. We went from origami to high school homework. Sorry, guys. It's learning. Learning can be fun. Hopefully, if you, instead of going from origami to high school, think of your high school learning as the process of learning origami. You can gamify it. Okay, we'll stop talking about that for now, though. And we'll wrap it up. Calculus, not friendly for engineering. I don't use calculus anymore, though. Maybe that's because I'm computer science, but I can see why it's used in other engineering. I don't use it at all anymore. If anything, we write code to do it for us. We just need to know the concept. Those are the easily likable subjects. Yeah. Do the stuff you like. You know what I mean? You can find success in those areas if you like it. It'll help you out. I want to do origami challenge 2 with boys. Got a plan though. Ooh, okay. I hear you. Hit me with ideas, Shangnara. That'd be good stuff. When I finish my stag beetle, I'm posting it on my YouTube channel. Sweet. Sounds good. You can DM me the link on my Instagram. That'll be a good spot to share it with me. I don't think you're old enough for the Origami Darren Discord, I'm guessing. So that's fine for now. Yeah, the one by Daniel Brown is the Ryujin 64 grid, I think. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up. Sorry if I missed some of you guys' questions, but that was kind of a fun stream. That was a really chill stream. I think I pre-creased more than I wanted to, but hopefully you got to see a little bit of how that dragon head is collapsed. And that's just the teaser for the tutorial, because in the tutorial, I actually show how to do that head. I don't know how long it actually took in the tutorial, but it's pretty long. It's more thorough and I don't go out of frame. So that's the good news. At least I don't think I went out of frame. I think I did a pretty good job keeping everything in frame and explaining what you're actually supposed to do. I don't really explain it like folds, which is why the tutorial is a little bit more difficult than, not a little bit more, it's a lot more difficult than my previous tutorials. But I explain at least how I like to grab the paper, kind of where to move the paper, what you should focus on. And that's the more important part, because you should already have the prerequisite skill to essentially know what the folds, how to trace the pre-creases as you're folding along. But that should be good. So expect the first part of the tutorial ideally this weekend. If it doesn't come out this weekend, that means I got super busy or I didn't sleep enough, so I slept instead. But that's really exciting. And then next week, sometime next week, maybe not next weekend, hopefully in the middle of the week, paper guide part 3 will come out. And we have like, I think 4 or 5 special guests featured on that tutorial. So that's super, super fun. That's going to have its own YouTube premiere, so we can all watch it together. I'll be posting about that on my Instagram and on the Origami Dan Discord. So be sure to catch that. And I think some of the people, some of the guests who are in that video will probably show up to the premiere too. So that's just overall a lot of fun. How do you not go out of frame? So when I not, that's a good question. When I'm actually teaching, I have the whole screen as the screen in front of me. Right now, when I'm streaming, I'm looking at the chat. And since the chat is on the right side of my screen, I'm like drifting to the right with my paper. But when I'm teaching, I don't have to read anything. And so instead of looking at my hands, I look at the computer screen. I look basically what the camera's showing me, the fold. And that's how I do it. And that's how I make sure I don't go out of frame. It's because literally if I go out of frame, I don't see myself anymore. Sometimes I do have to look at my hands, but in generally, since I'm not moving, it's in the same spot. And then I can easily check like back and forth, back and forth. It takes a lot of practice to not go out of frame though, but that's essentially how I do it. When's my next stream? That's a great question. Next stream, I don't know if I'm going to stream next Friday. I think I want to finish or at least start the shaping tutorial for the two-headed dragon. So if there's no stream, it's probably because I'm working on this or I'm working on paper guide part 4. We'll see. If you guys really want to stream, maybe I'll try to stream, but then it'll just delay the tutorial. So who knows? I might stream behind the scenes stuff on my Twitch channel. So you'll just get the alert from Instagram. That's kind of random. Maybe I'll start planning those out more too. But otherwise, the next YouTube stream will probably be in 2 weeks. So next, yeah, okay, 2 weeks. And then with that stream, we're going to be revealing the next OBB competition. So OBB competition 6. And that's exciting. The next origami competition. We got a really cool model. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. And it's a really awesome designer and design that'll be part of that competition. So be sure to look out for that. And I think that kind of wraps up most of the announcements I have. I think anything else we'll save for a later announcement. But yeah, you're free for the month. Okay, I'll hopefully those videos will come out and you can work on the tutorials, or I'll stream a little bit. I'm not free for the month. I still got a lot of work to do, both job and other stuff. But yes, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day or night. And I'll be editing that tutorial, so hopefully it can come out tomorrow. But thank you everyone for watching. You know, I appreciate it a ton. Keep folding origami. Have a lot of fun. And I'll see y'all in the next stream.
The most gankable champion. He just